So this video isn't really about ideologies, so I just clickbaited you a little bit. I'm sorry. I hope you still stay though. But what this video is actually about is structure. How information flows, how authority forms, and how systems either sustain order or fall apart. There are only two basic ways to structure authority: bottom up or top down. That's it. Bottom up means power flows from the parts, the individuals, the nodes, or the subcomponents, to establish authority. Elections are a formalized way of what I'm talking about. Formalized enough to keep the illusion stable at least. Dictatorships, on the other hand, flip this logic. Authority is claimed at the top and is imposed downward. The bottom doesn't get a voice, it's just expected to follow. Interestingly, if you look at all the complex systems that have stood the test of immense time, those that we can still observe today, they universally follow bottom-up architectures. This includes your own body. For example, if you smash your toe into a table corner, your toe doesn't ask permission from your brain to override authority. You have no choice but to listen to what the little sucker says. Hope you see the parallel to democracy that I'm making. Your body's structure allows for local subcomponents, your toe, to momentarily seize authority and control when the situation demands it.
I am assuming direct control.
And this is what democracy does, but on a larger scale. Only that your toe can send a signal whenever, but a small town in a country can only send a signal every 4 years. That is the election season. Top-down architectures, on the other hand, have some catastrophic failures. And that is why we don't see them everywhere in reality, except in human-made systems that haven't been time-tested. Here's an example of how a top-down systemic error looks in the real world. Just to give you an idea, between 1932 and 33, under Stalin's rule, the Soviet Union ran a command economy, which means prices for products and services were set exclusively by officials in fancy suits. This is a top-down architecture, if you're not following along. That year, a severe frost devastated Ukraine's grain harvest. Supply collapsed, but quotas and prices remained fixed. Farmers couldn't sell at that price, obviously, so the markets emptied and starvation followed. So why? Because the system couldn't hear. There were no mechanism for ground-level data to travel upward and update key variables, in this case, the price of grain. And since only a handful of officials had the authority to adjust prices, and none of them were anywhere near a farm, the prices didn't change in time. Modern-day icons of centralized authority, like China and Russia, eventually had to face this structural truth. They were forced to adopt bottom-up mechanisms into their economies, what you probably recognize as supply and demand. Not because they had an ideological awakening or something, but because without that shift, collapse was inevitable. Top-down systems simply can't keep up. They can't sample reality fast enough in most cases. And survival of any system, big or small, your body or a country, depends on reaction time. They couldn't run their economies solely through a top-down control, because reality doesn't support it.
In the long run.
So they introduced supply and demand. Supply and demand is a bottom-up architecture. Prices fluctuate based on decentralized signals. The structure allows farmers to respond in real time. The market adjusts variables in a decentralized manner, utilizing bottom-up architecture. The cheat code for sustaining order at any scale is embarrassingly simple. Keep authority contestable and place decision-making power as close as humanly possible to where the data first appears. Evolution figured this structural truth out long before societies even existed.
Allahu Akbar.
And is reflected in how your body works. That is the toe example. And we'd be wise to copy it wherever we can. Because in the end, the algorithm of order doesn't care whether it runs on cells, circuits, or societies. If any system wants to persist in reality, it has to sample reality at high enough resolution from its periphery in time. And it has to allow authority to rise from the bottom to the top. If ignored, you might last a century, perhaps 3, but remember, reality never negotiates. And one more thing. Our glorified democracies don't do a great job. They just do it better than their competitors.